Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Boring!
Hi, we're doing ceilings, and this is our group.
James Bloodworth.
Austin Cummings.
Grant Dower.
Reed Miller.
Henry Stewart.
So here's a few ways that ceiling art is created, and we'll see a bunch of these as we go through the presentation.
Ceilings in the Louvre present historical, mythological, and allegorical themes. They are designed to coincide with art and the theme of the room. The ceilings in the Louvre turn the whole room into an art piece. Instead of there just being paintings on the walls and sculpture around the room, the whole area turns into art, fascinating the viewer. These ceilings were created to show talent and to decorate the rooms. They show just how much power and wealth of the French monarchy. They convey messages about the state of the nation at the time. And the Galerie d'Apollon. This really drew our attentions, even though the main point of the room was the crown jewels, because the light coming in illuminated the gold to strike our eyes. This makes sense because this is how they showed how much power they had throughout their reign. The gold is telling the story of the sun god Apollo and how the kings thought they were basically a god. This hall was also used as a prototype for the Hall of Mirrors in Versailles and other kings in later years to come. This is how I would also feel looking at the ceilings.
Before the Galerie d'Apollon, we entered through the Rotund d'Apollon. Rotund meaning round, domed building. This piece shows Apollo surrounded by the heavens and other mythological figures, and shows that people during the Renaissance were very fascinated with mythology. At first glance, this ceiling is pretty boring compared to most of the other ceilings in the Louvre. It's just a bunch of glass panes. However, looking into the ceiling a little bit, it actually serves a purpose. It's supposed to allow for natural light to come into the room and to block UV. And it also allows more focus on the more important paintings in this room, including the Mona Lisa.
The Salon Carré has a ceiling that's really beautiful with gold features, and the statues are very mesmerizing. The organic shapes and statues had some allegories that made me think of Atlantis. Sainte-Chapelle was commissioned by King Louis IX in order to have a place to worship and to house important relics like the crown of thorns. Arches on the vast blue ceilings are both for aesthetics and for structure in holding up the chapel, which depicts over 1,100 biblical scenes on the beautiful stained glass. And this is me looking at the stained glass.
Welcome to the Hall of Mirrors in the Palace of Versailles. The ceilings are covered in 30 awesome paintings and crystal chandeliers. The luster on the gold frames and the chandeliers make it impossible to disregard the beauty of the ceiling. The paintings illustrate the life of Louis XIV and his great victories he had over the course of the reign. The entire hall is nearly 250 feet long. That's a crazy amount of ceiling area to fill with detailed paintings. It's extremely impressive how the painter was able to fill that whole area with meticulous paintings and gleaming frames. Just like paintings in the Louvre, the ceiling was painted by Charles Lebrun, and he made Louis out to be an all-powerful leader, even reaching the status of a god. But hold on one second. Wasn't Louis a Catholic monarch? Wasn't he supposed to believe in God as an almighty father? Isn't God above us all, and nobody can or should put themselves over God? As Christians ourselves, we found this interesting and almost blasphemous. Turns out that being Catholic for Louis was very politically based, as this gave him more control over the widely Catholic France. In the Hall of Mirrors and other ceilings in the Louvre, Louis is painted as a god because of the concept of divine right, the idea that the king was appointed by God himself. Because he was appointed by God, anybody who went against the throne was going against God, and this gave Louis even more power. We found the paintings in the Hall of Mirrors striking because of the amount of them, the quality, and the gold framing around them. But it is also interesting how the divine right of kings seems to contradict Catholic beliefs, and these paintings are clear demonstrations of that contradiction.
Here we have the Sistine Chapel. This is one of the most famous ceiling art paintings in the world, and it was done by Michelangelo. It was commissioned by Pope Julius II, and really what he wanted to do was just demonstrate the power and prestige of the Catholic Church. Michelangelo was paid around 3,000 ducats, which is close to $600,000 today. And this seems like quite a bit of money, but when you take into account all the work that Michelangelo did, it really almost killed him in a lot of ways. He never recovered from all the pains he had, and it took him almost 4 years, and he even had to learn the new painting style of fresco, which he had never done before. Here we can see a more close-up of the paintings themselves. In total, there are 9 central panels with 300 figures. And all these scenes depict different parts of the creation story of Adam, and with the main one obviously being the painting on the bottom. In this, we can just really see how detailed Michelangelo made all of the muscles, and it's really just crazy how he did all that, and it's really just exaggerated almost so that the people on the ground can really see it. Michelangelo also makes use of a lot of really bright colors. We can see these in the top too, with the bright blue, the bright red, and even the green, just so that, yet again, the people on the ground can really appreciate these more since they will be viewing it from so far away.
In Musée La Cour d'Or, I was immediately drawn to the vast collection of bestiary drawings when I entered. Growing up, I read all of the Percy Jackson books, so I know all about human-animal hybrids and other mythical beasts. I always knew that mermaids were evil beings that lured sailors to their death, but the mermaid I saw in Musée La Cour d'Or wasn't really all that scary. It was just downright ugly. I really despised looking at her gaunt face and saggy skin. Starbucks did a really good job with the mermaid's makeover for their logo because they'd be dirt poor if they used the same mermaid I saw in the museum. I also loved the colors used to paint the bestiary on the wooden background. They didn't scream at you, rather they were softer and more subtle. I also appreciated how each of the bestiary's entries were organized into their own little frame, separating one from the other, providing each member with their own little spotlights, allowing for a more clean and finished look to the piece. That was my reaction to seeing the disgusting mermaid, but I really liked the animal hybrids.
Finally, we're going to talk about the Chauvet-Pont d'Art caves. They're illustrations of human life dating back to 32,000 years. Over 1,000 drawings fill the cave in an area of about 8,500 meters. The paintings show ancient animals such as cave bears and reindeer, with one specific illustration covering 49 feet of limestone wall. It's a pretty wide painting, if you ask me. The paintings show how the men of that age interacted with animals, their environment, and the natural world. High-scale sophistication and rituals are also displayed through these amazing cave paintings. And even though they have no gold surrounding them like the ceilings in Paris, they show just as much history and are just as beautiful and meaningful. So to summarize, why create ceiling art? One, it's a demonstration of wealth for the powerful leaders of France. It's to illustrate the king as an all-powerful leader. That's the divine right of the king. It shows intelligence, innovation, and curiosity of the painters and sculptors of France. And they're probably smoking something crazy. And these are our research sites as references, and that's it. Thank you.